Hey everyone, this is Nikki, aka NickFish03, and I got a little homebrew how-to for you today. I actually just came up with this about half an hour ago, and the idea earlier today. But what it is making wrist warmers out of old wool hiking socks. Well, why not just make it your own, for free, with something that you're going to toss anyways, and is perfectly capable of becoming a new product. All you need is 2 socks, a needle and thread, and a good pair of scissors. I'm just using kind of a general pair. Sewing scissors, fabric scissors would be recommended just because of their sharpness. As you can see on this, the edges are curling over. That's because it's wool, and you're not cutting on any kind of seam, so you have the option of leaving a little bit of extra material on and then folding it over and then just sewing it like that, just like they do on the actual sock, and that'll prevent it from fraying, and it'll also look a little cleaner. But again, since this is my trial pair, I'm not going to bother with that this time. Here we go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I suppose I can take this off now. But, once again, that's the design. Oh, geez. That was close. Not really. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Once again, this is the design. It is an old hiking sock. That is how it is shaped up right now. So that is the heel cup right there. And all I did was 1 needle and thread sewing right in that joint, and that's it. So I should be able to do this on my left hand for both of them, and then just reverse it. Alright, so that is the way I had it to begin with. Kind of just get your thumb for this sock. I'm putting my thumb right along the seam right here. That worked out pretty well. You're going to cut that part out anyways, but just for your preliminary cuts, that's a good guide. Try and make the sock straight. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start. What I did the first time is I'm cutting right along the support fabric right here. And that's just to get an idea of where I'm standing. Alright, so we've made our first cut. Slide it back on. So that's what it's going to look like. So now what we want to do is even out that cut. So just from kind of the end of the thumb across, kind of to where the top of your pinky is right here, where that joint is. You can come from the top of the thumb down there. Make sure you keep your thumb out when you're planning all of your cuts. So again, top of the thumb over to the pinky, right above the joint. So I'm just going to gauge that by looking at the line of the seam and then just going down a little bit from the end here. Again, if you have safety pins, this would be the time to pull them out and kind of start marking where you want to cut when your hand is actually in it. Make sure you're cutting with the back of the scissors. Alright. So we can see it reduced some of the material. Didn't quite straighten it out, but that's okay. So now we're going to come right in and make sure you have it where you want it. You can kind of pinch where your joint is just to look at it where you're going to go. Again, a pin might be helpful. But I'm just going to cut down a little bit. I'm going to cut out a triangle, a V-shaped cut, little by little until I'm happy with my result. So we have that cut. You don't have to worry about these flaps right now, because that'll come back. When you sew it up, you can just trim those off. So if I pinch this, the tips of my thumb and forefinger, pointer finger, is where my joint is. So I want to sew it right above where my joint is, just so it's not pinching or rubbing, especially if you're using hiking poles. You don't want that to be rubbing. So just cut another little V out. Oh, perfect. Okay. So we have our joint cut. So you just want to line those two corners right there and there. You want to sew that up. Okay. So I have about almost an arm length of thread. Excuse me, I got a needle in my mouth. Alright. Go ahead and thread that. Okay. You just want to make a little overhand knot on the end here with both pieces, both ends at the same time. Okay. And we start. So I'm just going to kind of pull the material out, get my needle right under the V on the front. I'm not even going to worry about going through both at the same time. So get through there, and then find the other V and just right below it put the needle through. And for this, you don't want to pull too tight. You want to wait till the next round, otherwise that knot's just going to pull right through. So then we'll go ahead and thread it again. Same spot. Didn't go quite deep enough. Okay. You'll see that close up just like that. And this is, you don't want your thumb pulling out too much right now. Again, don't worry about it being too tight right now. You're just preventing that knot from coming out. There we go. And then just keep working on it. You kind of want to keep it in that one localized area. Maybe move up the thumb a little bit, and maybe up the pointer finger a little bit. But generally, you want it right in that spot. So this is sort of why you don't want to cut too low against your fingers, because this V, you have two options. You can either sew it up or you can cut it off. And for this pair, I'm just going to cut that off. But if I wanted to, I could just keep threading and threading and threading until that's all sewn up. But that just depends how high you want your wrist warmer. So now you want to put your needle through, just as if you're going to make another round. And then when you have this hole right here, this loop, you want to stick your needle through the loop and then pull it through and tighten it. That'll begin to lock it. I usually do that 2 or 3 times. Alright, that's 3 times. And we're done. Just trim that off. Okay. Sewing section is done. Now we're just going to clean it up a little bit. So we still have this thumb piece that is much too high. So I'm just going to cut it right along, probably down right to where the reinforcing fabric is. It feels about right, which will end up right there. And then I'm just going to cut right from this V section all the way across and down a little bit. So here we go. Alright, let's see how that worked. Perfect. Now this is the knot from the very beginning. Can't do a lot with that. Might as well just cut it off. Hopefully it won't unravel at all, but I don't think it will. And there we go. We have, I'm going to go ahead and slip this on my right hand because that's what it's meant for. We have a pair of wrist warmers. Alright, finished product, looking good. All done for tonight. Alright, not actually done with video, surprise. I just figured out that you now have a sock too. So you've got a wrist warmer, and as long as you save that beginning sock, you now have a hand sock. Not quite a mitten, but if your fingers get cold, you can save that little bit of extra weight and throw that on instead of bringing a full glove, which you probably won't use anyways because you have your fingers. There you go.